My name's Pip Stafford. I'm an artist. The concepts of my work tend to drive the medium rather than the other way around. I work with electronics and with sculpture and with online projects and with printed projects and performance and sound and installation and all sorts of things. I've always been interested in communication networks, systems, the way that people interact with each other. And I use things like crystal radios that I build myself. It's very much like a niche thing, you know, there's lots of old dudes who have really great websites who are like really into crystal radio. So there's sort of like a wealth of knowledge online. I'm really interested in using the kind of elemental materials, so using pyrite or galena as a diode and really like stripping them back to basics. I use amplifiers and other noisemakers to explore ideas around invisible networks. My work is very experimental. I often find myself saying that about all my works, well, this is, you know, a process and it's part of a process. I always feel like my works are never finished. They're part of this rolling process of inquiry and experiment and seeing what happens. Because my art practice tends to be a series of problem-solving activities and things tend to be a little bit fragile. So there's often those moments, particularly with like installing works, where things might not quite work. And that's the stuff that I'm interested in, like how can you make these kind of ephemeral works that are, you know, teetering on the edge of not quite working. I'm currently working on Make Your Mark for the Tasmanian Museum and Art Gallery and Hobart City Council. I was approached by TMAG to apply for the program and I was placed with Hobart City Council, working with 6 young people through Youth Arts and Recreation Centre. I meet up with them every Saturday afternoon and we just have a really good time just playing with materials. You know, we'll sit and work and watch videos on YouTube of other people's work and listen to music and, you know, just watching them kind of open up to that kind of stuff is really great. My group are really incredible and really engaged and receptive, and it's just been really fun. We're working on a project around the theme of respect. The theme was selected by the TMAG. It's my first time working collaboratively with young people, and it's also probably my first time working to a prescribed theme. At this stage, we've talked around the theme. We do talk about it a lot, and the work that we're making is responding to that. And it's been very much about the process and the conversations that we're having. And I guess I'm introducing them to the idea that an art practice isn't necessarily just coming up with an idea and then executing it. It's a conversation between concept, materials, and the context. And I'm trying to introduce them to quite an improvised way of working as well. That idea of playing with materials and thinking about the concept while you're playing with the materials. It's funny because we spent the first couple of weeks talking about the theme a little bit and everyone started talking about the idea of respect in an online sense. And the biggest surprise I think was that the kids weren't using social media. And they didn't tell me for that week. And I thought for a moment, well, maybe we need to rethink this. And then I thought, no, that's kind of interesting in and of itself. You know, maybe there's a respect issue here as to why they're not using it.
I've never really liked social media as a teenager and how people use it and how people's identities can change when they're on social media.
In terms of respect, I may be less respectful offline, but I'm more respectful online.
It's interesting the way we treat people on the internet because people do treat people differently on the internet to the way they treat them in real life.
What we're doing is we're making these film works where they're doing avatars or profile pictures that'll be installed in the space facing each other. One is their like best self and the other side is a more negative version or a different self. So we're kind of exploring that idea and using Super 8 film and hand animation to look at those different selves. We've been playing around with different materials. I led them through some stop motion animation, doing that digitally just with a mobile phone app to get them used to the idea of thinking in frames. And then we've moved on to using Super 8 and we're developing a film installation using Super 8 that we'll shoot and then hand animate over.
I've learned a lot as well about different kinds of art. Just learning all about analogue, that's been really interesting.
I'd really like to come back and do more stuff, I think. It was a really great opportunity to meet new people and I hope that I can come back at some point and do it all again.
I think I've grown as a person, like I became not as nervous. I can't wait for my family to see it as well in the exhibition.
Pip says that our work is going to be the first thing that people see when they walk in, so that's very exciting.
My only concern at the moment is getting it together to digitise it so that we've got a backup copy, because while I'm intending to show it in loops in the space on Super 8 projectors, it's really important that we have a digital backup copy in case that doesn't work out in the way that I've been wanting it to. I'd created these racks that the film was supposed to roll through, and when I'd done tests it had worked really well, but I'd had to splice the film a lot more than I anticipated. So where it was spliced, it was getting caught and I didn't have much time, so I just had to make the call to use digital. And I had that backup, so it wasn't a big deal, but I was really disappointed that we couldn't use the film because it really looked beautiful. But you know, it still looks great in the digital. There's a big element of chaos with my work. There's a push and pull between me wanting to control what's going on and a sort of nervousness. That's always been a bit of an element of tension that I've played with in my work that's just sort of endemic in using these systems that are really hard to control. If I had have used the Super 8 projectors, it would have been more of an installation feel rather than just videos on a wall. The projections would have been much smaller as well. So in a way it was nice to have the digital because they fill the screens a bit more. Yeah, so there's payoffs. It's been wonderful actually because it's made me really realise how I work, and the challenge of having a prescribed theme has been really interesting for me because I don't normally work like that. I hope that they'll get out of it an understanding that art can be a lot of different things, that it's okay to just play and make mistakes and explore materials, and it's okay to make art across a breadth of things. Like, you don't have to be one type of artist.